Okay, my life, my mystic. Journaling. Kirsten. Good morning, Holy Spirit. Help me. I still feel angry with David for offering everything to Lily. I'm in a marriage involving everyone, but I don't want to feel replaceable. I want to feel special. I feel bad for having these thoughts, for wanting to have everything and feel safe. Is there a reason why I should have more than Lily? Why I should be welcomed and cared for, with food and shelter provided, and she shouldn't? No, it's about possessiveness. I don't want to feel like this, but I can see I want specialness, to know that I am of value. What can you tell me about possessiveness and relationships? About my annoyance at David's loving treatment of her? I didn't hear a clear teaching from the Spirit in response, but I felt moved to sit in silence for a while. As I sat, a horrible jealousy arose within me. It felt terrible. I finally understood what people meant when they referred to the big green-eyed monster. I almost gagged on the feeling, but I let it intensify and come up like an exorcism. I stayed very still. There was nothing else I could do. Finally, it faded and dissolved. The Spirit guided me to read from the text. Because I will to know myself, I see you as God's Son and my brother. Finally, I saw Lily and David as innocent in my mind. I love Lily and David with all of my heart. I don't want to feel separate from them. I want the peace of God, to know my brother as myself. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The darkness has been exposed and released. Thank God that's over. Ownership is identity confusion. Journaling. Kirsten. Good morning, Holy Spirit. The gathering last night was great. I feel very clear and peaceful. What would you have me do or read? Holy Spirit, enjoy the peace. Read Review Lesson 52. I'm upset because I see what is not there. I see only the past. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. Kirsten, I read it through and take many notes. That's a full-on review lesson. Anything to add? Holy Spirit, everything you perceive in the world and as thoughts in your mind, including all images and conclusions about the world, people, and your relationships, are the same. They are based on a world that isn't there. They are based on private thoughts, and in perceiving them, you feel separate, which is cause for upset. Withdraw your faith in illusions. Keep the awareness in mind that this world is made up and has nothing to do with reality. Kirsten. So my experience of upset over the belief that my life and my security with David was threatened by being offered to someone else. How is that related to this? Holy Spirit, all that you have is within. All that you have is given by me. The only way that you can lose me is by blocking me from your awareness. Fear does this. You lost the awareness of me yesterday when you were in fear, anger, jealousy. How could someone give your life away? What do you perceive as being given? By whom and to whom? Remember who you are and who your brother is. How can part of yourself give you away to another part of yourself? In love, there is no loss. Love extends to itself. In giving all that you have to your brother, you are giving all that you have to yourself. This is true giving. What would you keep that you would not share with your brother? Would you see him suffer or go without when you have so much to give, knowing that you cannot be without? Kirsten, of course not. That's where the guilt comes in. I'm getting this now. This lesson between three people is for the whole world. Ownership and possession is of no value unless it is used for a holy purpose. Or is this still ownership? Holy Spirit, give all that you have to me. Know that you are one with all. Withholding or possessing a part of the whole is the cause of conflict and identity confusion. As you clear this belief from your mind, you will see things differently. You will see all things as equal and neutral and provided by me as symbols and props that are helpful in your awakening. When you believe in ownership, this is what you see: inequality. People, houses, cars, countries, each belonging to others. A fragmented world where oneness is impossible. Kirsten, thank you so much. This feels deep. I have never felt jealousy or possessiveness in a relationship before. And now I know the full extent of it. The whole world is based on ownership and possession. Mary Poppins and Midriffs. One night, after a gathering, we noticed that my clothes were serving as a distraction. The men were trying to figure out what kind of a female figure was underneath, and the young women at the gatherings couldn't relate to me. The elderly Beamers in Florida loved my Mary Poppins look, which consisted of a button-down blouse, shapeless below-the-knee skirt, and sensible shoes. In Cali, Colombia, however, the plastic surgery capital of the world, Mary Poppins was obviously not what was called for. Exploring this idea with David, it became clear that my clothes were a distraction from the depth of the message that poured through him at the gatherings. David pronounced, "You have to let the Spirit dress you." Lily, who had the figure of a model and wore miniskirts, platform shoes, and little midriff tops, was delighted at the prospect of taking me shopping. David, who was always up for an adventure, came along too. My mind was split, playing both sides. I was secretly happy at the thought of being seen as attractive, and yet I felt fear and hatred at the thought of attention being focused on my body. My old perfectionist thoughts arose. I wanted to find the perfect outfit that appeared so casually attractive that no one would know that I cared. Ah, the ego. Obviously, I had a lot of pride and body identification to undo. Lily knew where to take me. She found perfectly fitting clothes in every store we visited. I said yes to long pants and gentle no's to a few small tops. My reaction to one top was, "No, I can't wear this." Lily curiously asked, "Why not?" I responded, "Because my nipples are showing." Lily looked bewildered. Clearly, she couldn't comprehend why that was a problem. I tried to explain. "I can't have my nipples showing at a Course in Miracles gathering." Puzzled, she asked, "What's wrong with your nipples?" David delightedly watched the entire scenario, enjoying Lily's innocent responses to my ideas about inappropriate clothing. As their gentle laughter washed over me, I surrendered and gave my trust over to the Spirit shopping through Lily. She knew what would be perfect for the gatherings, and the sooner I let her decide for me, the sooner I would be laughing with them at the ego's thoughts. Many young women in Kali felt a constant pressure to be physically attractive. This went well beyond simply being attractive to men. Most of the population in Colombia lived on $1 a day, making the job market highly competitive. It was so extreme that some women were required to have plastic surgery in order to keep their jobs. The Spirit poured through David and me in such a full and deep way that evening. I felt more deeply rooted in my function than I had in a long time. Lily was absolutely beaming. She had played an essential part in supporting the Spirit's plan for this gathering. I realized how intense things had been for her and the faith required of her to host us and the gatherings in her apartment. I'd been so focused on feelings of jealousy and unworthiness in my own mind that I had not been available to support Lily at all. Once again, I was deeply moved by David's awareness of the Christ and how uncompromising he was regarding where and with whom he was meant to be at all times. He was constantly aligned with what served the highest good. And this sometimes meant leaving me alone to move through what I needed to see for myself with the Spirit. Incidentally, I loved the clothes Lily chose for me. I wore them until they were threadbare. Search and destroy. Journaling. Kirsten. Good morning, Holy Spirit. I still have some residual feelings of jealousy. What would you have me do? Holy Spirit, read Review Lesson 53. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images I have made. Kirsten, I read the lesson. Anything else you would tell me? Holy Spirit, use your real thoughts for seeing. Do not value an insane and meaningless world where chaos rules and life seems hopeless and devoid of safety. Kirsten, I see my insane thoughts are causing my ridiculous feelings, and I know it's the ego because of the drive to prove myself right and condemn David. My mind goes on a search and destroy mission and can't wait to prove him guilty so I can be right. And then ... What? Leave? The ego doesn't think that far ahead. I want to see with my real thoughts. I drop into silence, and a prayer of embracing truth flows from my pen. I write, I trust in reality. I acknowledge that a meaningless world does not exist, and I determine to withdraw trust from it. What I see reflects my thoughts. Loss, suffering, and death are the representation of my thoughts. I let my real thoughts cast their light on what I see. God's way is sure. My images cannot prevail against him because that is not my will. My will is God's will. I will place no other gods before him. I abide with God in my perfect home. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Do you have an assignment for me today? Holy Spirit, read through what you have written. Kirsten, thank you, Holy Spirit. I'll be on the lookout for opportunities to apply the truth to my thoughts all day. Thank you.